Welcome to rSlash Relationships, where OP discovers that his wife is sleeping with his stepdad. Our next Reddit post is from Time Q Streets. My wife and I have been married for 4 years. We argue sometimes over little things, but I love her with all my heart. There's never been anything wrong, until now. I thought that we were happy. I always treated her right, and I listened to her. I took her out whenever she wanted, and I studied with her. She doesn't work because she's getting her degree right now, so I gladly pay for everything and work overtime constantly because I wanted her to be great. She goes to classes nearly full-time and spends the rest of her time at school or the school library. I'm not close to my mother at all, but I see her from time to time. Recently, we've been trying to connect, but she's just really not a good person. She was horrible to me growing up, but I tried to forgive her for her personality and actions. She has a lot of bad habits and had 2 failed marriages with really awful dudes. She recently got remarried to another man 2 years ago. Let's call him Kevin. My mother invites me and my wife, and it's the first time they all meet. Probably the 4th time I've met him since they married fairly quickly. He seemed okay. I just really didn't like his vibe too much. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt because at the end of the day, it's her life, not mine, and we are not close. Last year, Kevin asked for help remodeling my mother's house for the day. My wife suggests that we stay for the week and make it a bonding thing. I agreed. I thought we could all do things together, but we ended up breaking into little teams. Kevin and my wife really hit it off, and I'm not very good with construction and renovation related things. So I ended up going out with my mother a few times to eat in an attempt to bond with her. It was weird, but we tried. My wife stayed behind and helped Kevin remodel. Her family is really involved in the construction/engineering world, so she knew much more about it than I about how to fix these houses. They seemed to really be close that week, sharing jokes and laughing a lot when I wasn't around, and had super animated conversations. But I didn't think much of it because I assumed she was just being nice to my new stepfather. I trusted my wife. My wife started going back over to my mother's house to help Kevin out afterwards. They live almost an hour away, so it's out of the way. I noticed when she'd be coming home way later than normal and decided to take the train instead of me to pick her up. She kept saying that she was going to the library at first before she admitted to going there to help renovate, since I wasn't much help in terms of helping my mom fix up the place. This was happening like once or twice a week. This started happening early this year. When the house was finished late spring, they kept hanging out, which I didn't mind. I guess that makes me stupid. When her classes ended in summer, we stopped spending as much time together, but she made nothing seem wrong. She seemed happy. Our love life was the same. We were trying for a baby. Everything was good, even communication. I tried going with her to my mom's place, but my mom was usually with her friends when she wasn't home, and I really didn't like Kevin's humor or mannerisms. I didn't mind. I worked a lot and liked to be alone sometimes. A few weeks ago, she got home late again and went to shower. I always joked that she would use up all the city's water with how long she showered. She was in there a bit, probably at 1 a.m. when her phone pings and vibrates. It does this like 4 to 5 times in a few minutes. I didn't want to invade her privacy, but that's very abnormal. I tapped her screen to see what it was, and I recognized the number. It was Kevin's. He sent multiple messages with his face and nude pictures of himself. There were replies from her with nude photos that were recent. Just a lot of words that I haven't processed yet. I took an extended screenshot of it, took a few minutes, and mailed it to myself and put the message on unread so she wouldn't know that I saw. I really wish I didn't. I really wish I would have honestly just not have known and kept everything perfect. There are months of texts. Blocks of texts and photos and heart emojis. I took a few days off work the following morning and flew down to see an old friend who lives in the Midwest. He's hooking me up with a month-to-month studio, no questions asked, since we don't talk anymore. She doesn't know that I'm leaving in January, which is when our lease is up. I told her that it was a trip for work, and she just smiled and told me to have fun and she'd miss me. I came back and she didn't seem any different. Our anniversary is the day before Christmas Eve. I haven't told my mother, and I'm not sure how or if I want to. I haven't told anyone except Reddit. I want to get out of here and be alone and think. It's been a while, but I still haven't had the heart to go through all the texts and photos. I feel like reading it all would make it all worse for me. I already feel broken and empty. I left my friends behind for her and started a life with her. I thought she was happy. We've been trying to get pregnant slightly before and around the time that I found out, and we're supposed to go check in with the doctors after the holidays. I need some time to think, and I need to know how to fix this with my wife. How do I tell my mother? I love my wife with everything. She's all I have. I gave her everything these last 4 years. I can't just divorce. I'm not going to follow in my mother's footsteps. Oh, it's a shame. OP doesn't want to follow in his mother's footsteps when it sounds like he already has because he's married to a cheater. Let's just hope the wife isn't pregnant with OP's baby. Otherwise, he's stuck dealing with this woman for the rest of his life. I'm a 37-year-old guy, and I just inadvertently stumbled upon some suspicious activity with my wife, who's 36. So our phone bill came due, but it was more than usual, so I gave it a once-over to see where the extra charges came from. Turned out to be new activations, no big deal. Although, while on the main page, I noticed my wife's last month text count was over 7,000 texts. She's a very busy lady with a demanding job and 2 separate volunteer positions. I expect her to have a lot of texts. I get to thinking about it, and I still decide that an average of 250 texts per day is insanely high, given that she's at work 10 hours a day. And she even gets snippy with me when I text her at work because she's busy. So who could she be texting? I decided to go ahead and look at the details, and sure enough, there's one number that she texts every day from pretty much when she gets in the car in the morning till she's laying in bed at night. I honestly don't know what to think. My curiosity got to me, and I started plowing through old phone bills. This number started showing up on August 8th. Since then, over 16,000 texts have been exchanged between my wife and this number, often into the wee hours of the morning. She never mentioned any new friends. So I get home this evening and get the kids ready for dinner. She starts looking for her charger and I start helping her find it. I found it and go to put it in her purse right when a text comes in. I hate being that guy, but I did it. I checked her phone. I don't have the passcode, but I saw who the text was from. Some dude. She has him programmed as his first and last name. I checked the time against the latest activity, and that dude has the number that's been texting so much. I looked him up, and he's a single guy that has absolutely zero to do with anything that she's affiliated with, so they aren't coworkers. They are friends on Facebook, though. Oh, and I also found my wife's vibrator, which has been in the closet for 6 years sitting right in her purse. I said nothing about that either, and just let it go until I figure out what's going on. I love my wife, and I trust her completely. I think. I don't even know when she would have time for an affair, given how busy she always is. Or maybe this dude is the reason for all the late evenings. And actually, now that I think about it, a lot of little weird things are starting to make more sense. I really don't like the direction this is heading. Am I reading too much into this? We've been married for 6 years and have 2 kids. We haven't had a date in months, and haven't passionately hugged even longer than that. Not for lack of any trying on my part. She gained a little weight and says she always just feels gross. Anyone have any advice? I really don't want to trash on this guy. That's not my intention at all. It's kind of funny how someone can be faced with pretty much the most obvious proof of cheating imaginable and be like, I trust my wife completely. I'm not sure what to think about this. Yo, 16,000 text messages? I don't send that many text messages in a year. I guess love just makes you do crazy things. He's too blinded by his love of her to see reality, but it seems like things are finally settling in. Also, we have this comment down below. If you stay with her, get an unlimited plan. Our next Reddit post is from National Potential. I'm a 37-year-old man, and I'm lost. My 37-year-old wife is now a gay witch. I feel awful sharing this, but I'm running out of ideas. My wife and I have been married for almost 15 years, and I feel like I'm in an impossible spot. We've changed so much. Pre-kids, it's as you would imagine, just growing up together and figuring out life. Truly, we were each other's person and best friend. We both came out of religiously traumatic experiences and vowed to keep growing and working through it. Growing as individuals has always been a common goal, and we champion that for each other. However, I'm uncomfortable with where things are going. For context, she became very depressed after our second child was born, over 7 years ago. She didn't realize she didn't want to be a mom and got crippling depression. She was in bed for days and couldn't take care of our kids or work. I worked hard to get her the care she needed through therapy and psychiatrists, as well as take on full parental responsibilities, and I was fine with that. I didn't resent her, I just wanted her to get better. After a few years, she started to come back and participate in the family, and I was thrilled as I started to recognize the person that I'd married was back. A big part of the depression was also triggered by her religious trauma. She was part of a cult-like upbringing where she didn't have autonomy of herself until we got married. I've always championed her in finding herself. So here's where it starts getting strange for me. She starts exploring more of herself and comes out to me as gay, but maybe bi because she's very into doing it with me. Okay, I think to myself, well, I'm not sure what to do with that. Then she continues her journey of self-discovery a few months later, and she tells me she's a witch and she believes she has psychic abilities. Wait, what? I want to be supportive in her journey, but honestly, I'm just thrown way off. But the thing that really pisses me off is this next thing. She had a work conference she was going to attend and was preparing to go, and she suffered a minor stroke. It was terrifying. I thought that I almost lost her. It was the worst experience I've ever had. Fortunately, she was okay and would make a full recovery. In discussing her situation with neurologists, they asked if she was on any antidepressants, which she was, or so I thought. I found out that she had stopped taking them for a couple of months. Why, I asked? She didn't want to tell me, but admitted the conference she was going to was actually not a conference, but a guided session with LSD for some healing ritual. Like, what the hell? She wasn't going to tell me until after? Because she knew that I wouldn't approve. I'm just so lost. I don't know who this person is anymore. I know if you grow, you'll become different than you were before, but this just feels like too much. First, you've admitted to yourself you're gay. Cool, no problem. We can figure out what to do. Second, you say you're a witch and have psychic abilities. Okay, I think that's silly and I don't believe in that stuff, but let's see where it goes. 3, you were dishonest about going to do illegal drugs. I feel bad making a decision to leave now because she had a stroke and she depends on me for all things financially. But what the hell? I don't know this person anymore. Between the severe personality shift and the stroke, it makes me wonder if she might have some sort of psychological condition, like a tumor or something of that nature in her brain that's actually changing her personality. So OP, it sounds like you need to get your wife a CAT scan. Or, you know what? Who knows? Maybe she really is a gay witch with psychic abilities. Our next Reddit post is from Frosty Cow. I'm a 23-year-old woman, and my husband is 28. We've been married for almost 10 months, dated for 3 years before tying the knot. We don't usually fight about too much, but lately, he's been doing something that really bothers me. He farts a lot when I'm trapped with him with his smell in the car and lately mostly in bed. It's disgusting. So tonight, I get into bed and the smell hits my nose. I tell him to knock it off and he blamed it on the dog. Then he farts again and it's even worse this time. So he's just sitting there, cuddling the dog and ripping it, and kinda laughing to himself, but denying it. After the third one, I yell at him, and he gets all weird towards me, saying I'm abusive for always blowing up on him. Bro, you're the one blowing up on her! And then I go downstairs, and I'm currently sitting on the couch alone. What do I do to make it clear to him that it bothers me a ton? And what do I do tonight? Do I go back to bed? Stay on the couch? Well, OP, there's an easy solution to this. Get your husband a butt plug. That will completely get rid of all the farting. When I was a kid, I watched a reality TV show, and I couldn't even tell you what the name of it was, or the network, or who made it, or whatever. Basically, it was about overweight people trying to lose the weight. And in this one episode, they had these 2 overweight people who were living with like a nutritionist for a week so she could fix their dieting habits. And she said she has 2 rules. The first rule is, I forget. And the second rule is that if anyone needs to pass gas, they have to go to the bathroom. And I distinctly remember when I heard that feeling outraged. Like, this is America. People should be able to fart wherever they want to. And honestly, over the years, that thought's kind of sat in the back of my mind. And I think I've started to agree with this woman and understand where she's coming from. I mean, obviously it's her home, so if she wants to set that rule, that's fine. But, like your typical fart is, 5 out of 10 stinkiness. Most farts are kind of average. And then you'll have some farts that aren't too bad at all. They're like 1 out of 10 stinkiness. But then you'll have farts, like you'll have like a bad day and you'll have fart after fart that's just 10 out of 10 bad. And they're like, oh my God, this is distinctly awful. When that happens with me, I mean, we all have days like that, right? I've thought, you know what, actually, I think I need to leave the room and fart politely in another room so that I don't destroy the peace. And, that's a moment of growth that I had to experience, which is completely opposite from my earlier young, maverick, fart anywhere you want, anytime belief system. So hopefully OP's husband can similarly grow as a person and either fart in the other room or wear a butt plug 24/7.
That was rSlash-relationships, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.